59 years ago, on the 9th day of October 1962, the Republic of Uganda regained her independence from the British colonizers. Uganda, like all African countries which had suffered under the yoke of colonization, had great tasks to achieve. Indeed, the leaders of the day declared that poverty, disease, and ignorance would be the enemies which would be fought and defeated. It is not lost on us that since regaining her independence, Uganda has known pain. She knew pain in 1971 when a military coup d'etat deposed the leaders who had been elected by the people of Uganda. She knew pain when she had to go through what was essentially a civil war until 1986, when a new administration came into being. And therefore, as we celebrate the 59th anniversary of the independence of the Republic of Uganda, we must always remember that like the phoenix before her, Uganda has risen out of the ashes of multiple pains. She has, like many African countries, made certain achievements. We can say of her with pride that in the last 59 years, her institutions of learning from primary through to university have known monumental change. We can say of her that her hostels have become many. We can say that her infrastructure has improved, but the journey to be covered is still long. Uganda, like many African countries, finds herself ensnared by the neo-colonial project. In fact, sometimes when one talks about the independence of African countries, one must place a caveat. It is true that indeed we now run our affairs in the political arena. It is true that we have national flags. It is true that we have national anthems. But it is also sad that in the economic arena, despite our protestations to the contrary, our countries, including Uganda, are still under the control of foreigners. A few years ago, it was the IMF and the Western world that dictated to us what it is that we had to do. Today, the Chinese do so. They build our infrastructure. They build many things in our countries, and we celebrate because they are visible to our sight. It is also true that the Arab world is making its foray into Uganda, as indeed it is in other African countries, calling into question the character and the nature of our independence. It is painful to say, but I dare say it, many African countries still only enjoy nominal independence. Because independence, as I understand it and as I think it ought to be understood, must not only be in the political arena, it must also be in the economic arena. Who is it that can deny that many African countries are weak? Weak economically, weak politically, and weak in the critical areas that define strength. Uganda, like many African countries, finds herself in that position of weakness. And that is why on this 59th anniversary of the independence of Uganda, we who are gathered here whether we are gathered physically or virtually, must rededicate ourselves to the Pan-African agenda. It is Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah who famously said at various occasions, initially in 1958 in Accra, Ghana, again in 1960 in Casablanca, Morocco, and again in 1963 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and again in 1964 in Cairo, Egypt, that Africa could only immunize herself from the diabolical machinations of the erstwhile colonizers if she worked in unison, and that our ultimate goal should be African unity. We celebrate Uganda on her 59th birthday, but we would wish that Uganda becomes a good citizen of the East African community of which she is a member. It is unfortunate that the East African community has not realized our goal of having a single currency, of having a political federation, and removing all tariff and non-tariff barriers that stand in the way of trade. And after being a good citizen of the East African community, I look forward to the day that Uganda will also become a good citizen of Africa. And I'm aware that under the aegis of a rather weak African Union, the African peoples, through their political leaders, have come with Africa Agenda 2063 and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I look forward to Uganda playing her role as we seek to realize African unity. It is not a journey for the faint-hearted. It is not going to be easy, but if it is not difficult, it is not worth pursuing. I look forward to the day when Uganda will be a part of a larger Africa, because it is only when Africa unites that Africa will be in a position of warding off the many vultures that are hovering over her, seeking to take her resources, her natural resources, seeking to weaken her people, and seeking to dominate her people. This time, not as blatantly as they did under slavery, not as overtly as they did under colonization, but in a covert and in a subterranean way, where they control our economies, and they are the puppeteers and we the puppets. Let the people of Uganda, on this 9th day of October, the year 2021, remember that they have a role to play in this monumental task. And those of you who are from Uganda and are in the diaspora, it is your duty to remember that however how far you are removed from home geographically, you have a duty to retain the umbilical cord. You have a duty to remember that no matter where you are, home is best. Use your resources, both financial and otherwise, to remind those who are at home and those who are in political leadership that indeed Uganda can only grow as Uganda and as a part of Africa if those who are in leadership recognize that leadership is a privilege and an honor, and their duty is to midwife the things that will help the people of Uganda realize their potential. Let not those of you who are in the diaspora allow themselves to be divided by petty politics. Remember that when all is said and done, it is your duty as patriotic Ugandans to ensure that your country is at peace. And peace is not the absence of war. peace is different. Peace is the opportunity for the people to pursue that which is in their best interest in an atmosphere where they are not intimidated, in an atmosphere where they enjoy freedom, but realizing that freedom also demands that we conduct ourselves with decorum. God bless you.